In its simplicity, music is defined as vocal or instrumental sounds combined to produce beauty of form and harmony of emotion. Now, as many of you may know, it takes a lot of hard work to create or recreate music. With this long and enduring process, you're able to create a bond with music. Some would say that if they were to listen to happy songs, they would be happy. If they were to listen to sad songs, they would be sad. Now, with this strong bond, it led me to my question. To what extent has music had an effect on youth behavior in America? Now, for the origin of music in America, music was always influenced by race, since America is such a socially diverse country. A lot of instruments and methods of making music was brought by different countries. In the early 18th and 19th century, you would start to see popular music, such as classical, blues, folk, and later on, rock and roll. As you can see in these pictures, you can see music in the 1940s, 1960s, and 1980s. You can see the drastic change between the 1960s and the 1980s, such as technology having an effect on it. Now, with technologies having such a drastic change, one child in this generation has more power than in a previous generation before. This leads to young children and young people being surrounded by technology and always being pressured to use it. Young people tend to get attracted to things that get introduced early in their life. For example, if your mom or dad were to introduce you to a song, you would most likely remember it for the rest of your life. Children begin to learn harsher topics prematurely without any filters of the radio or supervision of their own parents or guardians. Depending on the genres of music, two of the most hated or blamed genres being rap and rock and roll, or rock. Both of these genres possibly deal with drugs, sex, or alcohol. This leads to children starting to think about these influences and what they might do. Many officials and representatives have blamed these genres for countless amounts of incidents. This brings the stereotype of listening to these makes you an outcast or rebel. However, to one's surprise, a poll taken by Professor Andrew North of Hewitt University, it says the general public has held a stereotype of heavy metal fans being suicidally depressed and a danger to themselves and society in general. But a poll taken by heavy metal fans themselves and classical fans, it said that aside from their age, they're basically identical. So classical fans and heavy metal fans have the same psychological profiles. And when you think about it, they both use the stage to represent themselves. This could be compared to in an interview by the Asian Society reviewing views toward Muslim women. Both sides each have their own educated views, but until they both collaborate and unite for the better, each will have their differences and opinions. For my solution, if one were to blame music for changing the youth may have a different perspective than that person. One would have to understand both perspectives in order to move on and make a change that can really better America itself. Thank you.
All right, two questions for you. How did your research question evolve as you moved through the research process?
I wanted to do music all over the world, but there's a lot of music all over the world. So I thought it was with me doing my research in America, I thought it would be a more familiar sound for the presentation.
Okay, and what advice would you have for other people who research this topic?
When you're looking for evidence, don't just look at the evidence for itself or what it is. Look at when it was written, who it was written by, and look at all the sources that they themselves use for their own research.
All right, cool. Thank you.